promotion and information promoting a certain artist again here today. Today it'll be Billy Woods and Kenny Segal and their 2019 release, Hiding Places. Absolutely fantastic. So some information about Mr. Woods. Billy Woods is an American rapper based in New York. He is also the founder of the record label Backwoods Studios. Woods has been a member of Armand Hammer. Some of their albums are absolutely fucking amazing, by the way. Superchron, Flight Brothers, and The Reavers. Billy Woods was born in Washington, D.C. His mother was an English literature professor from Jamaica. His father was a PhD Marxist writer active in the Zimbabwe War of Liberation and then member of the government in Zimbabwe. In 1980, the family moved to Zimbabwe. After the death of Woods' father, they returned to the United States in 1989. Woods briefly attended Howard University before getting involved in New York City's hip-hop scene. He started making music in the late 1990s. He wrote his first real rhyme at a laundromat in Kennebunk, Maine in 1997. Billy Woods released his debut solo album Camouflage on his record label Backwoods Studios in 2003. In 2012, he released History Will Absolve Me. In 2013, he released Dour Candy, which is entirely produced by Blockhead. In 2017, he released Known Unknowns. It was included on Rolling Stone's 15 Great Albums You Probably Didn't Hear in 2017 list. In 2019, he released a collaborative album with producer Kenny Segal, titled Hiding Places, as well as a solo album, Terror Management. 2020 brought Brass, a collaborative album with More Mother. Woods released Aethiopes and Church in 2022. Aethiopes, whether I'm pronouncing that or not, I'm unsure. Aethiopes? No, again, I'm uncertain. That's a great album, although Hiding Places is the one I really, really liked if I had to choose one of these recent releases that I've spent quite a bit of enough time with anyway. Now for some Kenny Segal, also known as Syndicate, is an American record producer and DJ based in Los Angeles, California. In 2018, Mixmag described him as one of the best hip-hop producers in the city. He has been a member of Team Supreme, The Cleaners, and the Jefferson Park Boys. Kenny Segal was born and raised in Rockville, Maryland. He played cello in school orchestras. He attended University of Southern California on a computer engineering scholarship. Subsequently, he changed his major to audio recording. Kenny Segal originally played drum and bass at the Concrete Jungle Party in the 1990s. At Concrete Jungle, he met rappers from the Project Blowed collective. After being inspired by Los Angeles underground rap scene, he eventually switched to hip-hop. He was one of the first musicians to perform at the Low End Theory Party. In 2008, Kenny Segal released Ken Can Cook, a concept album based around food and cooking. It included guest appearances from Abstract Rude, Ace Yalone, Micah 9, and PEACE, among others. In 2018, he released Happy Little Trees. Bandcamp Daily included on the Best Beat Tapes of 2018 list. In 2019, he released a collaborative album with Billy Woods titled Hiding Places, as well as a collaborative album with Hemlock Ernest titled Back to the House. And now, I'm going to read out loud 3 reviews from Rate Your Music, which dropped very soon after this album was released on March 29th, 2019. Firstly, from No Guitars Allowed, we've read one of his reviews out before. My goals is limited, I just want to be the best. With Hiding Places, Billy Woods cements himself as one of the greatest lyricists hip-hop has ever seen. I rarely front-load my reviews of such bold claims, but Billy's not one to sing his own praises. A shadowy stalwart of New York's underground, whose prolific 2000s output went largely unnoticed, Woods returned to focus to solo albums, with 2012's phenomenal History Will Absolve Me. In the years that followed, fans have been treated to an entire novel's worth of cryptic yet confrontational street poetry, suggesting a grand narrative that's almost intangible. Billy's verses read like scattered fragments of a diary, recurring esoteric references and a pitch-black sense of humour, helping to connect the dots. But first, let's talk about how he raps. Wood's vocal style is best compared to the impassioned sermons of a street preacher. Each line is effortlessly quotable, shouted into the air without stopping to consider if anyone is even listening. This matter-of-fact attitude is subdued slightly on Hiding Places with tracks like A Day in a Week and a Year, delving further into Billy's introverted side. What these cuts sacrifice in intensity, they redeem tenfold in emotional weight, mining pessimism into intense personal confessions atop beats which sound like an anxiety attack. While New York mainstays like Blockhead and Willie Green have previously handled Wood's production, here it comes courtesy of LA beatsmith Kenny Segal. Perhaps reflective of his city, Segal's beats are far more spacious than their New York counterparts. This sparsity doesn't just allow Woods incredible freedom from a technical perspective, but an emotional one as well, acting as a canvas ready to reinforce the colourful nuance found in every verse. From Checkpoint's fuzzy psych rock to the claustrophobic spider hole, each instrumental brings an atmosphere and personality of its own, yet Kenny does this all without ever leaving the backseat, subtly framing Wood's tangled lyrical web to make for his most sonically cohesive project to date, though it might also be his most depressing. Billy's subject matter is as confronting as ever, name-dropping forgotten African wars in every second song and even recounting a rejected medical insurance claim opened in front of family. Bedtime moves further into absurdist fiction, with two separate Twilight Zone-esque verses detailing scenarios where the world's adults disappear and then all the murdered women come back to life for revenge. It's a lot to take in. Admittedly, there's an underlying thread of dry wit beneath all this, but Billy's knack for poetic imagery makes for some seriously affecting moments. As if Wood's past projects, Hiding Places is brimming of brief vignettes, self-contained stories told with just a few lines. I could quote these all day, but the aforementioned A Day in a Week in a Year features one of the most evocative. An army of fiends, she put chrysanthemums and daffodils in the burnt end of they crack stems. Tears stream down their cheeks, just really, really weep, but in the end, they hit the pipe again. Strange detours like these are a staple of Wood's writing. What first seems like an odd tangent is often deeply intentional, embellishing the broader subject without referencing it directly. It is this ability to balance scattershot narrative approach with unmatched thematic depth that keeps Wood's verses simmering on the back burner of my mind for weeks at a time. Billy is a master of isolating context without losing sight of the bigger picture, allowing him to pen songs embodying conscious, political, and hardcore rap without falling prey to any one set of tropes. Hiding Places isn't an easy album to listen to, and an even harder one to appreciate, but if you're looking for testament that hip-hop can still be poetry, then passing it by would be a grave mistake. I'm going to read another one out loud now from one MSCHOEN3. Billy Woods is quite an enigmatic figure in today's hip-hop and music community. Woods hides his identity from the public, blurs his face in his music videos, and doesn't even bother with social media. Yeah, good on him. Social media is absolute garbage. Hiding Places is a consistent batch of thought-provoking, addictive songs which are highlighted by mesmerizing lyrics. Woods generally has distaste for society in general, absolutely. Dropping the line, "No man of the people, I wouldn't be caught dead with most of y'all," nice. The producer, Kenny Segal, delivers a set of varied beats that feature an impressive palette of instruments, samples, and grimy electronics. The rhythmic bass tones are superb and dense while not overwhelming the listener or drowning out Woods. Woods focuses on dark, personal themes, topics that the majority of folk would prefer out of sight, out of mind. Woods utilizes his incredible grasp of language in creating narratives that immerse the listener inside his bitter, paranoid, unsettling mind. The dark subject matter ranges from such far-reaching topics and themes as nihilism, strained racial dynamics in this country, crime, poverty, and even the disturbing literary classic Great Expectations. The record remains an enthralling and fun listen due to the complete conviction Woods has in his craft, ability, and worldview. This is a type of album that grows on you and becomes more enjoyable with each listen as you see inside the mind of Billy Woods. I gleaned more meaning and appreciation with each repeated listen, a hallmark of a quality record. I think we'll go for one more now. Send track 1 on April 3rd, 2019. Any album involving the abstract and intricate rapper Billy Woods cannot simply be understood after one listen, and for this reason his lack of mainstream success is painfully apparent. Even after multiple attempts, both casual and attentive, to understand what he is getting at on the 12 tracks which make up his newest album, any concrete meaning is still difficult to grasp. After last year's Paraffin, the second collaboration with rapper Elucid under the name Armand Hammer, a political and melancholic odyssey that dragged even more than Billy Woods' dense style would suggest, the decision to work with producer Kenny Segal is a much appreciated one. The blend of challenging verses with inventive, energetic production leaves Hiding Places a figure not present on the rapper's other work, and even those with little patience for obscure rapping will likely find enjoyment in such creative instrumentals. Regardless of how explicit Billy Woods is with his messages, the feelings of unease and dread are constant in all his work, with Hiding Places conforming quite well to both those themes, as well as a slightly disturbing twist on the arrogance endemic in hip-hop. Steak Knives frames murder as an unremarkable event for the rapper, but it's his undeniable flow when spitting, "I shoot you in the street, be home for breakfast. Yes, it's sick, but banalities might as well be death threats. Let it sit, there's the threat of sepsis," that keeps his fans attentive to an artist so obtuse. Politics and injustice are recurring themes in his work, and this record is no exception. Bigfakelaugh opens with references to segregation and similarly evil practices. No N-words, no Irish shopkeeper pointing to the signage, work sets you free on the gate, before moving on to health insurance and pointed lines about the downtrodden workers of America. You can't eat pride, you can try. Perhaps the most accessible idea presented on this record is that which graces its cover, the dilapidated house, a symbol both of an upbringing in poverty and of an unexplored labyrinth, wherein every unopened door or hidden passage is enticing and treacherous. The latter is the focus of Spiderhole, whose title seems to allude appropriately to a hiding place from outside trauma, notable lines including, "It's just me in the spider hole, that's the best part, from here, the wall seemed really far, the mirror was as sharp, and holding my breath in the crawlspace, weight taped to my body, barbarians at the gate, Benghazi." Crawlspace is analogous in its metaphors. Abandoned mansion, squat in basement apartment, amidst politically charged bars referencing Donald Trump, Donald Glover, Ronald Reagan, and Islamophobia. Pace the palace wing, dethroned king jump when the phone ring, recreates the image of a sprawling, empty dwelling on checkpoints, simultaneously a clever nod to Martin Luther King Jr., who shows up in the following verse being wiretapped by the FBI. The previously mentioned production for all of Billy Wood's flow and lyricism is often the clear highlight, from the muted piano loops of checkpoints in Red Dust to the eerie, booming bass on Bigfakelaugh. Kenny Segal submerges each beat in its own clever melodies and ambience, the relentless static and dry percussion effectively supplementing the rundown, grimy vibe inherent in Billy Wood's raspy drawl. And so much of the rapper's work is weighed down by a reliance on dour moodiness, that the instrumentals here are so much more dynamic while still feeling serious and uneasy is a welcome change. Given the careful listening required to even come close to an understanding of what Billy Woods intends to communicate, the production here goes a long way to providing the foothold needed to make such an effort enjoyable. Even when the beat is so off the wall as to distract from the difficult rapping style, as on the sample-heavy Bedtime, the slight dip in quality is brief and hardly noticeable. Much greater of a hindrance is Billy Wood's eccentric rapping style, which for all its depth and double entendres occasionally veers so far off course it is hard to imagine any hidden meaning could justify it. Despite Self-Jupiter's mediocre feature, the guitar shredding on Speak Gently is ruined mostly by Billy Wood's meandering spoken word outro about people not forwarding their mail. Listening to a Billy Woods project is best described as a calculus of effort. Will there be enough wisdom hidden within his words to make the time spent deciphering them worthwhile? Luckily, Hiding Places is for the most part free from the depressingly plain production that makes certain projects of his such a struggle to get through, and thus the lyrics within are much less of a chore to try and understand. Still, perhaps even this is too harsh of an appraisal. It is clear, with even a cursory glance, that Billy Woods puts a great deal of effort and insight into his bars, and no one could deny his captivating skill on the mic. In any case, this album is a powerful demonstration of the rapper's talent and a particularly worthy addition to his canon. I would claim it's one of the... This is me speaking, not a reviewer on Rate Your Music. This is AOD. I would claim that this is a great release, one of the better of 2019 probably, and one of the more entertaining hip-hop releases that I've heard from the 2010s. Thanks again, my friends. Have the best possible day, night you have ever imagined.